Whoa, there
Hi.
she is. Happy Sunday.
Happy
How are you?
Sunday. I'm good. Let me get a little
How's it
face
going?
on here.
Yeah.
I'm good. I apologize because I've done a lot of lives, but I haven't joined a lot of lives, I realize.
Uh, you haven't been on the other side, you're saying.
Exactly.
Got
Oh,
it. I like your
I gotta
hair. It's glowing
thank,
over there.
thank you.
There we
Today,
go.
it's church day.
Yeah, did you go to church this morning or
I did,
today?
I did the church thing. How do
Okay.
I get
What
the
was the
comments off
message?
my face?
You say what?
I'm trying to figure out how to get the comments off my face.
I know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do
Is
I
it
do
there
that?
to stay? It's okay. I don't know. Hi.
Um,
Hi.
it has to be a way.
I don't
Um,
know.
Sorry
What's
about
going
that.
on?
What's going on? Yeah, we're here. How was church? What was the message today? If you can share, please.
Well, so I went to my parents' church,
Okay.
and the message, well, he reiterated the story of when Mary Magdalene found the empty tomb.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting, his perspective on it. And interesting that we were going to talk about women today, women's empowerment. I was thinking
Yes.
about it. I was like,
Power.
because Mary Magdalene was the one who found the empty tomb.
Oh wow.
And it was interesting that he touched on the fact that, the Bible discusses a lot of times when we think about Jesus and the disciples, we think about 12 men, but the
Hmm.
Bible talks a lot about Mary Magdalene, and she gets kind of skipped out of the picture a lot of the times.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was cool that he talked a lot about her and her impacts and um, her plot in the story. Her, the
They
impact that
say
she had. Yeah,
they say behind every successful man there's a woman or women, if you know what I mean.
that's, yes, that's what they say.
So I mean, to my followers and people who might not know you, I met Kimmy on social media. She posts always amazing content, and I followed her. And over the time, we built a friendship. And I actually never met Kimmy in person, but
That's
we're like
wild.
IG friends. And I discovered that you have a podcast. It's what's the name of your podcast? Oh, your IG live chat. That is a
Yes,
podcast.
it's
It's
Empower Hour.
Empower Hour. So I've watched a few of those, and you're just really good at asking questions and interviewing people. So I was like, you know what? Let's get her on and let her talk about women empowerment, women leadership, self development. Before we get into that, can you just give people a synopsis or just a brief description of like your background, where you're from, what you do? I mean, also, people, she's really into nice watches. She's always, you got a watch on today? I know you got a nice watch on today. Yeah. She's a watch girl too, so she loves watches. But yeah, just give people just a brief description of just like who you are and what you do, and then we can get right into it.
Thank you. How's my sound?
How's your
The
what?
my sound. Can you
Yeah, I
hear me
can hear
okay?
you. You sound great.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you. And I first and foremost, that's wild that we've never met. I feel like we've met.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I appreciate you for inviting me onto your platform.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm from Kansas City and I
Oh,
went,
Chiefs.
yeah, next year. Um, yeah, so I'm from Kansas City and I got the heck up out of Dodge. I went to San Diego. I went the corporate route first.
Yeah.
I got a degree in accounting and was checking my boxes like this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go work in corporate. I got a, sweet gig working at a big four public accounting firm and worked as an auditor for a few years.
Okay.
But I felt a tugging in my soul and that I wasn't fulfilling my purpose.
There we go.
And
Talk on it.
and that I just had more to give. And I saw the trajectory of what my life would be like staying there, which was great and theoretically what I probably was supposed to do, but I felt a tugging to go a different way. So
Yeah.
I followed this crazy, I looked crazy, quit my corporate job, moved to LA, and pursued my passion to work in the luxury industry,
There
specifically
we go.
with watches, like you said.
Yeah.
I have a crazy knack for luxury watches. Yeah, so
What's your
I
favorite
follow.
watch? On the top, what's your favorite watch?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
It's tough. I have a lot of favorites. Right now, I'd say Grand Seiko is a brand that I really like. I like
Yeah.
the Underdog brands
Underdog.
because, yeah, a lot of brands are, they have, it's kind of like any fashion brand. Like a lot of people just want it just because of the brand name. which is great. I also
Right.
participate in that, but there's a lot of brands that are just not as well known, but have a lot to bring to the table. So yeah, I like Grand Seiko. If anyone listening hasn't heard of them, go seek them out. But yeah, there's a lot of brands
Yeah.
that are great. I could go on and on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you for
uh,
that. So Kansas City, you're not on the West Coast. You went the corporate route. You're into
yep.
watches, and now we want to talk about women empowerment. So when
Yes.
I think of women empowerment as a man, I think about inspire, motivating, encouraging, pushing a woman into her purpose or her path or her direction of which she believes she knows she can have and want. And granted, we all need to push. We need to challenge. We need someone to hold us accountable. But from your perspective, being a woman and having your platform and your power hour, what is women empowerment from your end? How do you see it?
Sure. Great question. You're good at
Mhm.
this. My goal with Women with Empower Hour was really to create a space, I say safe space, for
Yeah,
women to inspire, educate, and empower one another. And not to exclude men, but my goal with it is that women work great in community, right? And we work best when we're bouncing off each other and listening to each other and empowering one another and inspiring one another. So my goal with the podcast and with Empower Hour was to really just create a space where we can hear each other out. What do you have to offer? What can I learn from you? And how can I be empowered from by listening to you?
I love that. That's a perfect elevator pitch. Sold. I want to buy this show. So
I'm
with
taking
that being,
offers.
with being said, that makes sense. So the question to follow that, does that mean there's a lot of challenges in the workspace or just in personal life, business with women amongst one another as competition, trying to belittle one another, step on top? Like, as a man, I mean, you see it sometimes with women competing, but you don't actually know it. So, what is the stratosphere? What is the environment like, women to women, when you go out, maybe to a nightclub, or you go out to a dinner, or what is it? Is it more love? Is it more
Mm,
resistance? Is it more neutral? Like, what is that energy like
yeah, true.
from a general perspective?
Right. That's it's I can't speak for all women, and I think
Yeah,
like the answer to that question heavily depends on what kind of woman you are and what kind of environments you're putting yourself in, right?
yeah,
So I would say from a higher standpoint, like if you look at corporate boardrooms, oftentimes there might be one woman at the table, or maybe at a senior manager position there might be one or two women. That's increasingly getting better.
yeah.
There's more and more women getting there. But I think it's because of these conversations that women can kind of have with each other. Because if you're the only woman at the table, it's hard to seek out other women who think like you and want to achieve the same goals as you. So I
Absolutely.
think the goal of women empowerment for me, from my perspective, is to connect women who want to empower each other and inspire one another, because it might be difficult to find that where you're at or with your
Right.
specific trajectory. For example, when I was in Big Four corporate environment, there were a lot of times where I was the only woman at the table, or I was, yeah, a woman who was going into a position where I needed to speak to a group of men. So with women empowerment, you want to create safe environments so that women can connect on a level that's relatable to them or with other women who want the same things as them. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. So you said, a safe space. So as a woman in business for you, or just in general, do you feel unprotected in any aspect?
Um, I wouldn't say I don't feel unprotected. I would say that there are times where you just feel misunderstood,
Okay, I like that.
or like yeah, misunderstood is the word I'll use,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I think a lot of times the strengths that women have can get kind of brushed under the table because maybe they're not the same strengths that men have, or they might just move differently.
absolutely. So there's a quote that says, um, when it talks about women, and it said, you want women to be strong and confident, but when she's something, she's too aggressive. I forgot the quote. You know what I'm talking about?
Can't help you.
I can't remember it, but anyway, it's like, they say you want an independent woman, but when she's in her independence, she's too pushy or too challenged. I forgot the. I'll find it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
I get
it's it's
I get the
in,
vibe.
yeah, it's interesting how narratives based on gender are so attached to a person, and that narrative becomes the world's perception, and I think that's when a misunderstanding comes in
Yeah.
because I'm saying, oh, she's a woman, so therefore she thinks like this, she feels like this, she's that, she's this, and so that's going to make that, but we don't even know that person to even say that. We're just going off of what the world has given us and programmed us to believe about women.
Hmm.
So for you to find your empowerment, for you to find your motivation, for you to be inspired, what women or women have you looked up to? Who inspired you and motivate you to be more empowering, be more of a trailblazer, or just a leader in your own role and position? Like, who has inspired you in your life?
Hmm. It's another great question. And to your point that you were making about kind of the insinuation that comes along with strong women, uh, and to connect that question, there's a Sheryl Sandberg is one woman that I do look up to. There are some things I disagree with her about, but overall, I'm a big fan of her theories of, how women can show up for themselves and how they can sit at the table, as she likes to say. And she actually brought up a statistic or a, a study that showed that there is a positive correlation with men and success, and there's a negative correlation with women and success.
Oh, now we
Yeah.
talking. Why did she explain why?
Probably it probably if she, I watched a TED Talk where she talked about that, and I think she does go more into depth about it. But I think it's just kind of maybe our own thought paradigms and characteristics that are we correlate to be with successful men are just a little bit. I don't know actually why that is the case, but it is something that you notice, and especially with women amongst each other, when you're
Uh,
seeing a successful woman, or maybe you're seeing someone who's doing something that you wish you were doing but you're not doing. Are you correlating? Are you getting positive feelings with that, or are you getting feelings of envy and jealousy with that? I think that you could
that
touch
might
on
just
this.
be a life thing too for people because I've experienced that in multiple cases with people close to me or people I know in general. What's her name again? Cheryl.
Sheryl
What is it?
Sandberg. Sheryl
And
Sandberg.
what is her background?
She works with Facebook. She's the COO of Facebook, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So she's sitting at the table. She's got a lot of great books and resources. I really look up to her.
Yeah,
Obviously, like Oprah, just these women who have just created space and
yeah,
have done it. Oprah, especially because she, to me, is the ultimate embodiment of a successful woman, and she's also done so much work spiritually.
yeah.
Because for me, I think you want to be well-rounded. You want to do the work spiritually, physically, mentally, financially to be really a fully empowered person. And I think she's a
You
great
should,
example of that too.
you should coin that definition. I think you should coin that. That's a great analogy, a way to put that all in there for one word. I think that's phenomenal. I like that because to be empowered, that means you're working on every aspect of yourself, your identity, or how you see yourself. Um, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So to talk about women in success and successful women, I love successful women. I love a woman who's driven, is independent, that knows what she wants. Because as a man, it's different when a woman is motivating you or challenge you like verbally, right? Or just like in your situation or whatever you're dealing with. But maybe women do know, but maybe when I know for me to see a woman go do her thing and kill it and dominate and evolve and elevate, subconsciously to me, if I'm dating her or if she's a friend of mine or if she's a family member, it motivates me. It
Hmm.
impacts me like she's getting it. Like that's attractive, right? That's
Yes.
stimulating. Like I want to have a conversation with her. I want to know what her routine is like. I want to know what does she do to prepare for me. Like just for example, my aunt, she's VP of diversity and inclusion over at Netflix, right?
Oh, love
And
that.
for almost 25 years, she had her own business where she was talk about diversity, women empowerment, consulting, just businesses. But she's head of VP over there. And she's always been on the proud of becoming more, doing more, and she's the breadwinner, and on one side of the family. So it motivated me. I remember her sitting the family down, at least all the cousins and her niece and nephews. She's like, look, I don't want to do this alone. I don't want to do this
Yes.
alone. And I remember, like, it was like maybe like 6, 7 years ago, and I said, I got you. I'm coming. Like I was
Make
still,
space.
yeah, I was still in my 20s trying to figure it out, but I was like, but it was just so motivating. Like man, went to Columbia undergrad, and she went to Harvard Law School, and then, she just did it, and I respect people who do the work, right? It's one thing to read a book, right? And say, look, I got this knowledge, but it's another thing to not only read a book, but also live a book and experience it. And I think for me, my intentions with women as I evolve as a man and understand them more, I want to empower women, right? And how do I empower women? What do they really need? And as I got older, I'm like, damn, from my perspective, women don't need much out of a man or men. They really just need simple stuff. When it comes to a partner or a friend, it's just empowerment, motivation, letting them know that you care, right? And just holding them accountable in different ways. And I realized as a man, when you do your thing and you're in your purpose, it's easy for a woman to get her purpose if she doesn't have one already, right?
Yes.
And vice versa. So I think as men, I believe, men in these days, I think we got to step up more for women, right? Women are showing up in all facets, right? Money, business, home, parenting. Like, women are doing the whole 9 yards. They're doing the whole 100 yards football. So what I think I discovered was that women don't really need men or depend on men no more, really, depending on who you are, for money anymore. That's not like as attractive. And if it is, it doesn't, your money won't keep them there. I think what women are seeking now for men is spiritual currency, right? Someone who's spiritually strong, someone who's spiritually capable, someone who's spiritually grounded and understand the spiritual realm as much as the business. So it's a dichotomy of like a lot of different things, but I think if men and women, we kind of communicate, understand your perspective, understand what leadership is, what motivation is from your perspective, because we like to generalize what we believe something is for someone else, but women think differently than men.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think you said that safe space. I think that safe space for women is just listening to them and letting them speak on what they feel, not what we think is right, because men, we're logical. We like to, things make sense. Yep. But there's a quote that says, whenever you're making a big decision, always get advice from a woman.
Hey, I've said that quote before.
So, not to go off tangent, but I just think, had to, unpack that and say that. But moving forward, I don't
think that's a tangent at all, actually. I mean, I
just want to keep it. This is about.
You said the word purpose.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Sheryl Sandberg talks a lot about that too. She talks about part of being an empowered woman is having the right partner and making your partner an actual partner.
Say that again. Say it again. You gotta say that again. That's powerful. Say that again. That's powerful.
Part of being an empowered woman is having the right partner. And I think having the right partner is finding someone who is in their purpose, and to your point, makes it easier for you to be in your purpose. Right?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about self-help. We talked about books. Like, what books are you currently reading, or you've been going through audiobooks of you really reading lately?
Wow, I've been inundated with books lately. Based on some recommendations from friends. I actually just listened to The Way of the Superior Man on audiobook.
Oh, where's it at? Yo, it's so good, right?
Yes, so good.
This book has helped me so much, like in relationships, just understanding. My last live I did, I talked about love versus purpose. Like, man, powerful book, people. Y'all should get this book. Y'all should read it. I'm telling you, change your life, literally.
Men and women. I think men and women need to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men and women should both read that book because I think it's if you want to be a superior man, read it. If you're a woman and you want to find a superior man, I think you should read it.
Absolutely.
I'm also big. Right now, I have to shout out my favorite book that I'm rereading, which is Female Brain.
I've read that book.
You've read that book?
Listen to me.
Love that book.
Listen, I read the female brain and the male brain. But
Male
here's the
brain.
thing. This was like 7 years ago. So, my talent agent, when I first moved to LA, his name is Rodney Chestnut. He was like a big time superstar on the Noah's Ark show. He was gay, right?
Hmm.
And before, I came to LA, I didn't really understand, people who are in that world. And so we always would have like deep, intimate conversations. And I dated a girl one time, who she told me her brother knew he was gay at the age of 3. So it triggered my mind. I said, hold on, I got to do some research. I'm really curious about how someone determines their sexuality. Like, where did that come from?
Yes.
So I think I read the male brain, and that was kind of accurate about how men think and how we are. Then I read the female brain, and in the female brain, she quoted a lot of like other books and stuff for her information. She said a gay man's brain is equivalent to a straight woman's brain, and she was saying some of it is hereditary, it's hormonal, it's from the DNA. It was deep,
Yes.
but it made things make sense in my
Right.
mind. And it's just like, I get it now. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't believe in that. A lot of people don't want to hear it. But I'm a type of person, I want to help people in life. So it's like, if you don't, doesn't matter your sexuality, doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, white or black. Is about, if you're in my life and you're in my frequency and I'm supposed to help you, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to
Yes.
judge you based on what you're choosing or what you're doing, because I don't have control over that, right? So my whole thing is, I seek to understand, then to be understood. Because if I project what I'm feeling about that stereotype, I already missed the boat, already missed the shot,
Right.
because I'm not understanding what I'm dealing with. I'm just examining and giving my thoughts and my perception. And it's just
Yeah.
not fair. But that's a book. That's a great book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great book. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy that it all comes down to like a chromosomal breakoff
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But as far as for women or feminine
Hmm.
energies, people who identify as female, I
Right.
think the book is really helpful because as a woman going through life, and male brain, but as
Yeah.
when you're going through life, to have an understanding of the way that your emotions work, and if we want to talk self-development, women's leadership, women's empowerment,
Yeah.
that all comes together when you can understand what's happening to you, like
Yeah.
when you're what your hormones are doing, and how that's affecting how you're thinking on any given day and how you're reacting to things. I think for women in leadership, it's highly important to be in tune with yourself and the way you think and the way you react to things, because that way you can be a better leader, and that way you can empower more people, and you're not just reacting emotionally, you're coming from an educated place. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That book
Absolutely.
for me was huge.
Yeah. It explained
It
a lot, of just a lot of things I had questions about. And what I discovered as a man dealing with old people, the more, and I always say, information changes situations.
Oof.
And if you're questioning something you don't have a clue or understanding about, when you get the information from a context that makes sense, you're allowed to have not only compassion for a person in their situation, grace. You're also going to be more forgiving because you have more understanding of what that person was going through in the moment of whatever happened to you. So for
Yes.
me, I'm always looking for an edge or a loophole to find. Like, it's something there that I need to figure out to make this like, oh, that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yes.
oh, okay, so yeah. And I think as people, we don't take time to process our feelings, our thoughts, and emotions, because we just impulsive sometimes,
Yep.
and we think about what another person is going through. We just go off what we see and not what we know. And what happens is we quick to judge. Oh, I would never do that. Oh, she's crazy. Why she do this or why she do that? Or, like, why she wear all this makeup, or why he always showing his money, or what I'm saying? And then you get down and you say, well, she was verbally abused as a kid, and she was always talked down on, and she doesn't feel secure. You know what I'm saying? In her own skin, and
Yes.
right? Or he was always broke. He never had money, and everybody shitted on. You know what I mean? Like, once you unpack people's lives and stories, you're like, I,
Huge.
I get it,
Yes.
So it's so important. I wanted to ask you. We talked about leadership for a bit. What does women leadership? What is that to you? But what does that look like in a big picture? Like, what does women leadership look like if you had to, paint that picture for us?
I'm gonna quote Sheryl Sandberg again because she says, "Someday we'll just have leaders and not women leaders." Cheryl,
Woo! Aha moment, tweetable moment. That's like Oprah said.
yes, all Cheryl right there. But it's
Yeah,
true. Like it's the same as any minority group, and I put
yeah,
that in quotes because that that's on a spectrum. But when you're underrepresented at any specific table, first you gotta get the representation at the table, and then everyone can just be seated there equally. And I think the future of female leadership is just leadership.
I like that.
But for now, I think it's a process of both sides. So like women or feminine energies becoming more empowered themselves, putting seating at the table, like Sheryl Sandberg says, and knowing your strengths, acting on your strengths, and creating space for more women at that table. That's critical. Not just hogging your seat, but creating more seats for other women at your table and pulling them
Yeah,
to the
yeah, we
table.
go to the table. Let's eat. We all eat. This
Come
is a book.
on,
Never eat alone. Like,
come here.
come to the table. Let's eat. What you want? You want to eat, right? Like, let's
Yes,
go.
come here.
Um,
And men pulling up seats to the table, which is
no,
again, I
absolutely.
appreciate conversations like this. You're bringing me on your platform,
Yeah,
and
let's together.
everyone can rise.
Together we can do whatever. Together is better. Together is more. Like come on, we can transform together. I don't want to do this alone. I don't want to be alone. It doesn't feel good to be in a position where you're the only one with all the information or the understanding or the intellect or the finance, whatever it is. Everybody, I
Yeah,
want you to be intelligent. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to have money. I want you to be motivated. I want you to teach me something. I don't want to always teach. I want to learn. I want you
yes,
to challenge me. So if I got real lions and real people on my team that's going to challenge me and are real and authentic, I don't have no choice but to grow.
yeah,
They say you are the five people you hang around, right? And
love
I
that.
think that people take it for granted because they don't really understand it. But I always like to break it down in like energy and like sports, right? So if I want to play pro basketball and I'm just getting out of college, I'm not gonna go play with the college guys. I'm gonna go play summer pro am with the pros. I'm gonna see if I'm
Yes,
good enough. And the more repetition, because repetition is the mother of skill, the better I'm gonna get if I'm playing with the professionals, right? Or if uh, Ed Milat, he said, and I always thought of this. Say you're in a tough environment, you're struggling in life. It's hard to make ends meet. I say once a week, twice a week, go somewhere where it's nice at, where money's at, where it feels good. Just go
mm-hmm.
to Starbucks in the richest neighborhood. Go to the park in a nice neighborhood and just be there for an hour and see what happens to your energy. See what happens to your thoughts. See what happens to your frequency. You're going to think
Mm-hmm.
different. You're going to feel different. You're going to be different. And then therefore, different can show up in your life. But if we stay in the bubble we grew up in, we were raised in, we can never grow outside of that bubble because outside of that bubble is uncomfortable. And I was reading something this morning and they said, when you go down a road to be comfortable, you're never going to live the life you want. You just never.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions where you're taking chances to your advances and you're taking risks.
Yeah,
But we're so afraid of uncertainty and we want to control our life that we don't prepare our life for the best life because we're always trying to like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I used to be that way.
yeah,
I just got to do like, no, just live, just be, go for it. What you got to
yeah,
lose? You can only learn.
yeah,
Um, that's another
absolutely.
question. I have questions for you. Was one question was, what are some challenges you face or you think women face in business in general? Not only with men, but just from stereotypical. Like, what is it? What is the most common thing you have witnessed in business with women? The challenges that you face.
Sure. And quick shout out to plug to my own Empower Hour. I have an episode with Chelsea. Her last name's escaping me, but Chelsea on my Empower Hour. She's a badass CEO of multiple businesses, and we talked a lot about some of these things. But um, generally, it's oftentimes that women feel a need to overcompensate their own knowledge and their own worth and their own
Ooh,
information at the table.
ooh,
Um,
wow.
again, a quote citation is from Cheryl is that If you take the same survey and you ask men and women the same subjective questions about themselves, women will 9 times out of 10 undervalue their own skills, and men will overvalue their skills. So it's interesting to see that what happens is you have women underrepresenting their value, or overcompensating, trying to prove what they know at a table. I see that happening in real estate and corporate and all over the place. It's just that you feel, and that comes down to women not negotiating for themselves, women not asking for raises, things like that.
Why do you think they underestimate their power or their beliefs? Where does that come from, you believe?
To geek out about it, I think it comes down a lot to our biology and our brains and our hormones and the ways just that we think naturally. But I think it's a paradigm shift, and I think it's a training, the way you train yourself to think about your value and the way you show up and the way you represent yourself. It's a habit that you form over time. I've had instances, even in my industry, I'll use myself as an example because I can't speak for all women, but where I know what I'm talking about when it comes to watches, right? And I'll be explaining something to one of my clients who's a man, and they will be like, I'm not sure if that's correct. Are you sure about that? Me, knowing I'm right, I'm like, maybe, am I right? Wait. But his confidence and his thought had me second guessing the way I was thinking about something I knew that I knew.
I had a conversation with a young lady, and I challenged her on her opinion, and I had a different opinion. So in that process, I was watching her, and I was like, she was trying to change. I said, oh, ho. I said, no, don't do that. Do not change your opinion for my opinion. You're not going to do that. And I think that's when some men come in and they take advantage of women because they see that. I'm more so like, no. Keep your opinion. Stay in your truth, right? Because you feel that way for a reason. Don't change it because you want me to feel safe and comfortable for what I feel. Like, no, it's okay. Like, I get it. I respect it. I mean, that's your view of that situation. And I think it might come from, and I could be wrong, but I think innately women are just very nurturing and nurturers, and like they give birth, right? So they're always trying to, I can't say always trying, but I feel like they have a something in them that they want to compromise, right? They don't want
or hear you out, yeah.
Yeah, because they said it, and I think the women bring the male bring them. It's like women want less confrontation. Like, they don't like confrontation. So they'd rather just, it's all right, we'll figure it out, like, but to any women watching, listening, when you have a strong opinion, don't let a man, don't let a woman, don't let anyone who has money, fame, don't let no one change how you feel. Like, literally, like, stand on that. Like, stand
practice
on belief, because your belief is from your perspective, from your experiences, from what you went through, and from what you know. So don't let scripture, don't let a person, don't let even statistics. I'm listening to a book by David Rubenstein. The book is called How to Lead. By the way, the CEO of Pepsi is a woman. The CEO of IBM is a woman. And there's a few other they're CEOs. But people don't know that, right? These are big brands for years. And so there was an episode, there was a guy, Tim Cook, he spoke of Steve Jobs, and he said, the guy was asking him, was it overwhelming when you got to Apple? He was like, no, it was empowering. He's like, for people to think like this, to be like this. He said, I was happy. He said, the thing about Steve was, you can talk to Steve Jobs about anything, and he will always say it could work. Where now he's like, in our industry, there is analysis and statistics that say 99.9% that won't work. And he's like, Steve was never that guy. He always would not always go against the grain, but he believed if you felt dearly about something and strong, that you could do it. And I try to tell people that I've always been the guy in class. I was a nerd in school. Like, I got straight A's, I'm always challenging the teacher, like, not to be like a dick or asshole. It was just like, I don't know. I'm curious. Can you break that down in a different way to make that same answer?
Oh, you were that guy.
Yeah, and I think people are afraid to go against authority or someone who has a title, who has a status, because they want to think they're always right. It's like, I'm not always right. You know what I'm saying? We're not always right. We can be wrong. And I think it's important for women and men to like stand on what you believe and
Yeah.
don't just say, I'm not, I'm forget, don't worry about it. Because I've been that person too, then you don't get nowhere.
Yes.
So,
Know what you
that,
know, be
yeah,
loud about it, be confident about it. I think to your point, yes, women tend to be a little bit more empathic and yeah, a little bit more conflict avoiding, and we're going to be sensitive to the other person's feelings. So maybe we're like, oh, I think they're wrong, but I'm not going to let them know here
yeah,
right now. But it's confidence, and I think again, when we circle back to what women's empowerment means, it's being around more women who speak so confidently and who say what they say and know what they know. It's attractive, it's contagious. You're gonna, oh, she's confident about what she's saying. I can be confident about what I'm saying too. So the more you surround yourself with that power and that confidence, it's gonna rub off on you inevitably.
absolutely. And that's important. Um, another question. So, far as women from men, what do you think women need from men? Um, in general, one, but in the business sector, like what do you think? Not that women demand or they would appreciate. I always get the word respect, but a lot of times, like words, right? We have our own interpretation of what those words mean to us. So respect might look different to you or someone else, but and I'm not saying that that's your thing, but what do you think women would want or need, from men in business to
Hmm.
make things more, not so one way or not so lopsided. It could just be even kill. It could be like, because I think we all got to understand everybody thinks differently. Everyone
Yeah.
doesn't believe in rituals and morals and principles. But I think listening to people is important for all people and
Yeah.
really understanding, like listening to the listening. You know how someone say, hey, I like those shoes. And you're like, oh, maybe you want to buy those shoes. You know what I mean? Like you're really listening to listen and not listening to respond. So what do you think?
Um, I think there's several ways that men could show up for women
Yeah.
in life, but specifically business. And I think one is again creating space for women. Again, inviting them to the table. Getting, I would say, if you've noticed that a woman hasn't said her opinion, you could specifically seek it out, right?
Yeah.
So if you're at a boardroom table or you're in a group or you're in some type of scenario where you notice that the female hasn't said anything, first of all, I'd encourage that woman to speak up. But secondly, I would say that to seek out that opinion. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? Because she might have a lot of valuable things to say,
Yeah.
but felt overpowered in the room and couldn't get her thoughts out and therefore got washed away. But would have had some really dope stuff to add to the conversation. So I'd say like making space for them and then intentionally seeking out what their thoughts are on something, because men and women think about things so differently. Again, back to male and female brain, we interpret things completely different, and women have a lot to bring to the table that complement what men are bringing to the table, just in a different way. So sometimes if you can seek it out and intentionally make space for that, I think that's helpful.
Yeah, and I like that you said that because I've been in several meetings and I'm a watcher. I watch people like body language, eye contact, energy, and I've noticed everybody is speaking. I'll be the one like whoever the woman is in the room. I'm like, what do you think?
Yeah.
There's a great quote by a woman in the Forbes Top 100, and it said the best business advice that she could give anyone is, "What do you think?" Right? Because what do you think is so undervalued? Because I know what I think, right?
Mm,
But once I can ask you, what do you think? Now you're giving me a perspective from your brain on what you think, that is able, if it is different, for me to process what I'm looking at differently. What's Wayne
yeah.
Dyer's quote? Change the way we look at things. The things we look at change, and that's why women and male feedback and advice is important. Not that it's always right, but it's always good to get a different perspective because then you can
Yes.
weigh the based on how many there are. But if I'm only getting male perspective, it's like, it's cool, bro. But hold on, Kimmy, what you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I think, ba 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 ba. Wow, you know what? I like that. I didn't even, because if I'm not looking at it like you, how can I even think of it in that way to get the answer, the result I'm looking for?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it takes two entities, two energies, masculine, feminine. And I
Yep.
just think it's very important. So
Absolutely.
I got a question. I feel like you're very, educated, motivated. You're very driven. You're intelligent. You do it all. But I've witnessed something on your Instagram that was very appealing, and I was like, she has this side to her, right?
Uh-oh.
So I'm just gonna play the video,
Oh shit.
and you give me the feedback of what you think.
If we're supposed to meet and you come at 2, that's on you. I'm on my way. 25 minutes. Lies. Lies. 2 is 5. 7. How do you walk in when you arrive late? Like a model.
Yes.
If you're also late, then we're on time. If we're supposed to.
Oh my
God.
Yo, listen. When I saw that, I was like, hold the heck up. Like, hold the Who is this person? Is this the Gemini kicking in? Right, it's 7. And if I'm late, I'm on time. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Yo.
Oh my God.
That right there, that combination in a person, whether male or female, it's awesome, right? Like you can be motivated, you can be driven, you can be business minded, but then you can be really silly and funny. I think laughter is medicine. I think, what I don't see, and maybe it's women to women conversation or togetherness, unless women are just silly and they do memes and stuff. Like you don't see that many like silly, goofy, funny women like expressing that or showing that side. But there are multiple women that are probably like that. We just don't know. But I think from a man seeing a woman like that, I think that's attractive because it's like, yo, she's silly, like, and I think that's another way, and I might be giving some game right now. That's not a way to attract a guy, but that's maybe to get a guy to like open his eyes up more and look at you even different. Like, yo, she had me laughing all day. Like, I want to work with her. I want to do business with her, or I want to date her. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a different side that we don't get to see out of women from a general perspective. We're just looking. We're going for the looks, the swag, the vibe, right? But you just don't see women being goofy and silly, like, normally. Like, at least I don't. So, when I saw it, I was like, yo, this is good. You got to keep doing these.
Yo, shout out to Elsa.
Come from,
Shout out to Elsa.
For sure.
She got her Versace deal. I don't know if you follow her.
She winning. She killing it.
Yeah. But I think thank you for that. But it's like, again, it goes back to just being authentic. And I think it's hard. I don't want to be so preachy, but it is hard. Like when you're a woman, you're trying to present yourself. I've struggled with it too. How do I want to represent myself as a woman this day and age? I'm a professional. I want people to take me seriously. If you're doing real estate or selling watches or doing women's empowerment, if you post something goofy, are people not going to take you seriously? Are they not going to think that you're smart? If you post a sexy pic, are they going to not take you seriously? They're going to objectify me now. So thank you for saying that. And I think it is just a balancing act of being your authentic self these days. And then, but also if you've done the work to back up what you're bringing to the table, you shouldn't have to worry about how people are going to interpret you. Like, if you know you're smart and you know that you're a hustler and you want to post something funny, then post something funny. If you're sexy and you'll post something sexy, post something sexy, and you're smart, it's fine.
Yeah, you can be all of you at all times.
Do it all. Do whatever you want. Be authentic.
Be authentic. That's right. So, yeah, Kimmy, I mean, I guess, that decides, that ends the interview. But what do you have going on? Can you share with the people watching and who's going to look like, what do you have going on? What are you working on? Where can we find you on all social sites? We know your Instagram. but just in
Yes.
general.
Thank you for it's weird being on this side of the interview.
Yeah,
um
yeah,
yeah, so my at is obviously Kimmy So Blessed, and you can also follow at Empower Hour Podcast. If you would like, you can please subscribe to the podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple and all streaming, and we just have a bunch of really dope women on there that we talk to, and that's something I'm really passionate about right now. I'm also in real estate, so if you want to buy a house, I have some content coming out specifically geared towards women in real estate. So if you're a woman watching this or listening to this and you've bought a house or purchased a home, please reach out to me because I'd love to talk to you. And yeah, that's what we're working on, just empowering women and being authentic. And I
yeah.
appreciate you, Eric.
Is she single? You don't have to answer the question. I'm just saying. Like,
She's
people been to my
dating.
about you before the interview. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, you don't gotta answer. You can say no comment. It's fine. But anyway, before we get out here, I just want you to give me like one phrase or one statement or one word that represents empowerment to you for the people watching. We can do it like that.
Can I give you an Oprah quote?
Of course, I love
Okay.
Oprah. Yeah,
I got this last night. The Lord sent it to me.
got it.
But she was quoting a book she read, and it said, "Authentic power is when your personality comes to serve the energy of your soul." So whoever you are in the world, how is it serving what you came to do? And that's
Wow.
something I'm taking home.
Whoever you are in the world, how is that serving what you came to do? Damn.
So good.
That makes you think.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it ties this conversation up well, because if you can show up authentically, make sure your personality is serving your purpose
Yeah.
to be empowered.
Make sure. Hold on. Is that yours? Is that your thing?
That's my paraphrase of the quote. Authentic power is when your personality comes to serve the energy of your soul.
But what you said prior to that, I think you should put that in your bio. I don't know what you said, but how you said it was so on point. It's like a tagline, a slogan.
I'm gonna listen back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your personality should serve your purpose.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that.
All right, well, Kimmy, thank you for
I
being.
appreciate you, Eric.
I appreciate you. Thanks for being such a gem and genuine and authentic and real and empowered. I'm pretty sure a lot of women and even men watching this felt empowered by your presence and your authenticity. And follow Kimmy So Blessed. Follow her. Go to her podcast. Hit her up. Like, she's powerful. She's in real estate. Don't forget, she got them nice watches, baby.
Got you. Whatever you need, I got you.
Yeah. So with that being said, have a phenomenal Sunday, a safe Sunday, and I see you on here soon.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Bye. See you later. Yeah. So check this out. Check it out. Check it out. That was great. We did great. She did great. Bum, 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 bum. Women empowerment. Women empowerment. Women empowerment. Let's go. Have a good week. Good day. I'm out. This will be up on my page. Go check it out. Give me your comments. Give me your feedback. Let me know how you feel. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We out. Peace and love. Be great. Treat yourself right. Love yourself.